Horizon Zero Dawn took the old world by storm through exciting, innovative gameplay and
machines!
I like Aloy's hair.
But will the Forbidden West capture my focus?
Balls, dude!
Find out on this episode of Robot Monster Fighting Game 2. My journey begins at the PlayStation Store page, where I have to overcome the greatest challenge of this experience, the absurdly high price tag of $101.69. Could have been $69.69 and everyone would have been happy, but hey, the game boasts that you can fast travel. Wow. And it runs at the standard of the industry. Oh. And they designed the experience with the controller in mind. What? And you can hear in 3D. Robot Monster Fighting Game is a pretty sick elevator pitch, and I have to say, this game is that. The game begins as all big budget games do, a heavy-handed cinematic outlining why this story is the most important story of all time. Oh no, not the foxes! Now it's hard to appreciate a game's graphics and gameplay when it constantly stops you to explain things like jumping. But to my surprise, I wasn't interrupted by a cinematic for almost 7 minutes. A record by industry standards, and even then, this could have been gameplay, but you know. After sizing up my prey, I give him a little backside jab, then shoot the other one in the face while Mr. Useless does nothing. Pressing on, I count about 8 moments where an unnecessary cutscene could have been used. And I know I sound quite sarcastic, but I'm seriously impressed by how much the developer actually let me do on my own. There may have been directions on the screen, but no forced button pressing moments were shoved in my face after crafting a pulling device. I just forget what I was doing because I am so into this. The visuals here, it's really nice. I like that. I am impressed, but then I am introduced to one of the worst traversal systems I've used in a long time. Climbing is clunky, awkward, and difficult to do, which are 3 different ways to say the same thing. But don't worry, I won't stop telling you how much I don't like this system because the game won't stop making me use it. After watching a long doodly-doo about stuff or whatever, it's back to what the game does best. Robot monster fighting, I've mentioned it before. Which in this case are ferrets that die when you whack them good and twerk when you stab them in the butt. I am then introduced to blast traps, exploding balloons that generate low-res smoke and make other monsters go, "Hey, what's going on over there?" I am then delighted to do more climbing, and you can tell Aloy is too. Just can't contain herself. So I climbed, and I climbed, and I fell. Then I climbed some more until I dropped a rocket ship on some snakes blocking my path. But oh no, one of the snakes didn't get squashed. This is what the game is all about, analyzing big gosh darn monsters and targeting specific parts to defeat them. And let me tell ya, Snake Boy over here put up quite a fight. Skipping over some story stuff, I ride a giant lift to the bottom of a valley and the game doesn't trigger any cutscenes. It just lets me be in the moment until the end where I was mesmerized by this guy's outfit. Who made your clothes? The very nice clothes. This is the point where the game lets you go, and of course the first thing I do is hunt animals too weak or slow to pose any challenge, giving me the confidence to take on some silly looking herbivores. Oh, that one shoots fire. Good thing I brought my explosive balloons. Moving west, I harvest important materials. The most important, of course, being following a trail I find with my focus, I find Aaron, a man whose name is that, which leads to one of those story moments where allies are kind of involved but not really, and I don't get to choose how I approach the fight. Not great, but now I can say, when I fought a young warthog. Oh, that one has fire too. On my way out of the village, I mount up and run over some wildlife. This would actually happen as often as I would actually hunt them, clearly a result of a lack of humanity's industrial triumph over nature. Fidgeting with this silly projection thing, I call my mount and there's an audio option for everything, but not this unbearable whistle volume. I approach the gate to the west, donning my new outfit looking like the newest member of S Club 7 when these 2 mansplainers tell me what I can't do. So I do it anyway, then scary Angela Bassett shows up with machine friends, but only I'm allowed to control the machines. No fair! I engage enemies riding machines. Then a dude gliding on a shield takes out Mr. Useless. Shield Guy wasn't so much difficult to fight as he was annoying, but I got his glidey doodle, so it's a big win for Mitch. Hanging out in a bush, a mixed race convoy passes, and I almost take out Mr. Krabs.
You're killing me!
Then he goes into maximum overdrive, and I miss him again. I defeat the convoy, then discover I'm strong. Really, Strong. After starting a fight I didn't want to finish, I find a settlement called Last Log, and the people there were very concerned about the machines chasing me. I double back to fight some horny boys, and it turns out I'm getting the hang of this. Excited to finally try out the fabled fast travel, I zip around the area as different merchants sell different things. Very neat. Having added some new weapons to my arsenal, I venture towards a side quest about a mine when I notice a large climbable area which leads come on, Aloy. Which leads to a doohickey, my lucky day. Then I discover the time-lapse feature and get pretty into it. Entering the mine, I find these two dude bros who like totally can't get out of here or whatever, so I guess it's up to me. This involves some swimming, climbing, ferret f***ing, and a minecart being pushed. The bros thank me for the help, and then I climb another tower. Aloy, no. Aloy! After hunting some machines for spare parts, aren't ya, bud? I discover a big cave full of water and have a really good time. I really like how oxygen is used based on how fast you move, so you can just relax and use the scanner to see the topography. Some story stuff happens, then over the bend I find I can't believe there are kangaroos. I don't know why it's such a big deal to me, and should this guy be fighting me backwards? Is this part of the programming? Naturally, the fun has to end, and I enter an old one's ruin where everything looks boring in the traversal system. Have I mentioned this?
Do it! Jump! Jump!
It was at this moment that I thought maybe Guerrilla Games needs some feedback, like a list of things the game does well so they can improve the experience, and I spent all night on this, so please be open to my ideas. So I deal with all this gobbledygook and skip a cinematic, and then I'm just fighting some weird guy while trying to shoot things up high. But I can't see the guy while I'm doing this, so I don't know who thought this was a good idea, and I think back to the list of really great things, and this isn't on there, and now I'm wondering if it got lost in the mail? Glossing over what I'm sure is very important stuff, I get back to the purpose of the game. Just hanging out with my machine bros, climbing radio towers, and gliding onto tall necks. Just good stuff, fun stuff, and if it's not fun, why bother? After finding a different radio dish, I get sidetracked by a plow horn, which is not at all what I call my penis. Then I talk to some vendors while loud humming drones them out.
Would you spare a moment?
What, huh? What?
A classic fight breaks out where I can't choose how to initiate, and my allies barely try, which pushes us into an old one's place, and you won't believe what happens next. Triceratops Arena Battle. Triceratops Arena Battle. Arena battle, there is nothing to battle. I did not do well. After defeating the Plowhorn, I aimlessly wander around this base before realizing the quest wasn't selected, and then I leave immediately after talking to a glowy lady because this isn't on the list. Popping out of the side of a mountain, I take the first zipline I see and sneak up on a bristleback reading Mountable. Mountable? Damn, boy, he thick. That's a thick-ass boy. Damn. Did I say that right? But that's not all. You can also pick fights with other machines. How cool is that? I ditch unnamed Bristleback 1 and have a moment right out of a science fiction movie as I am hunted by some pretty large birds of prey. Feeling like an unstoppable adventurer, I subject myself to a mountain of traversal, approaching a group of pterodactyls. And this guy won't stay still while I shoot his wings off, more like pterodictyl. But they're no match for my mountain jumping technique until they are. Spawning in at the nearest bonfire, I noticed Breath of the Wild's influence on open world movement as the first Horizon was too close to benefit from such a thing. Or too early. I should do research on this stuff. Moving lower into the valley, I have quite a cat and mouse game with some bristlebacks as I am hunting them for their tusks. Why I am friends with some machines and use others for their parts is a much bigger question about humanity's empathy for others. Or I guess my own. Having retrieved the parts I need, I walk over a ridge overlooking a valley filled with machines and just marvel at the decision to make their glowing blue eyes visible from a distance. A saber-toothed tiger catches wind of me and I stay still because I don't want to be food today. So I circle back to the top of a cliff and continue to marvel at the glowing eyes through thick atmosphere. I override another bristleback and he digs up salvage for me. What a nice guy. I get sidetracked by a side quest and follow a dude while aliens take off a bird. We approach a valley where some machines are trapped inside, and I fail several times before luring a saber-tooth to a ridge where his zappy underbelly is exposed. You could say Buddy Boy was pretty shocked by this, so I attempt to climb up to take advantage of the situation. Come on, Aloy. This is the decisive moment. You only got one shot. Do not miss your chance. Oh, you blew it. After many trials and tribulations, I defeat the valley machines and zone out to the blue glow of my bristleback before fighting a gosh darn T-Rex. Fighting this guy was nuts. Between charging me with his face and swinging at me with his mighty tail, he also shoots blaster rounds and discs that fire explosives. Super cool. After being the prey for a while, I felt I needed to kill something with a little old-fashioned thing called a ballista.
That's a lot of damage!
I continue moving east and find a small settlement that points me towards a ruin of the old ones, but first, let me take a selfie. This quest guides me to something rather unfortunate, a machine called the Rockbreaker which attacks from underground in what I consider an unfair manner. And to make matters worse, the components you need to focus on make this an overall frustrating and lackluster experience at the same time. I did, however, discover a way up onto these broken bridge pieces and thought it was part of the fight, but it turns out this was just an exploit I discovered. And on that terrible disappointment, it's back to the open world, where I find a small tornado that does nothing to me. Neat, I guess. Using my focus, I find a signal coming from underwater and do my best to investigate, but I'm out of breath and there's a sea otter telling me to shove off. And on that terrible disappointment, I go back to the small settlement and head towards a particularly interesting tall neck. As I approach it, I notice it doesn't have the components I would normally use to climb it. Turns out some humans set up shop here with intentions of slowly dismantling it, but some other machines showed up and mucked the group pretty hard, leaving behind some ballistas with ropes attached to anchors. So I fire the ropes into the guy while clearing out the machines until Buddy Boy does an AT-AT, allowing me to override the beast. And as I rappelled down, I thought, wow, a fun, compelling open world side quest that I wanted to accomplish rather than my character. After this tall neck, I didn't find anything as inspiring as this moment, which includes a fight with another T-Rex in which Aloy tries to traverse a piece of him, causing me to die. She tried to ride a broken component. I'm done. I'm out. I did enjoy my 16 hours of Forbidden West. It improves on many issues I had with the original and manages to keep things quite fresh while offering plenty of accessibility options and a whammy bar. Be sure to tune in next time as we continue heading west. But it's forbidden.
This isn't some forgotten corner of the East where you come from, Nora. It's the Forbidden West.
He said it! He said it!